All right. Hello, my eighth graders. I'm coming to you from Mr. Lefever's loft today instead of Mr. Lefever's dining room. Since we're in this for the long haul, I set up a desk up here and I went into school yesterday and grabbed, some of the essentials. I got the globe. I got obviously the gold chain. So we're all set to be here for a while. I got the chance to take a look at the feedback that you guys left on the survey on Friday. Thank you for doing that. It was very insightful and helpful for me to see kind of where we're all at. Seems like a lot of us are enjoying the videos. A lot of us say that they are helpful and easier. A lot of us take issue with Common Lit, not necessarily because it's too difficult, because it's actually challenging and we actually have to think while we're doing it and pay attention, which I guess boo-hoo, because we're still going to be doing them every once in a while. So buckle in for that. But some of the other feedback seems like a lot of people are eager to do some kind of class discussion, blogs. Current events was another pretty popular option. Not a lot of people into the video conferencing as a class, but we're just going to have to do that at some point. I'm thinking later this week. I won't do it like 8 a.m. or anything, but we are going to have to get together as individual classes to have some discussions, make sure we're all on the same page. Because as much as I like hearing my own voice, I don't really like teaching through a computer. A lot of you attended my career day talk about education and teaching, and big part of that for me was how rewarding it is to see those aha moments and to be there and to help students understand things. And it's really hard for me to do that through a computer screen. I really am struggling to figure out what you guys know and what you don't know, and what you're saying and what answers you maybe got off the internet or from a friend. So it's challenging. In the feedback, though, I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm sure he won't. I think Charlie Smith had a really well put response to how's it going? How do you feel about e-learning? He said, this week of e-learning has been odd since we aren't used to being on this long of an e-learning break. I am personally just okay with the current situation. It's not that great, but it is what it is, and we have to take it one day at a time and see how the situation progresses. I think that's very well said. It is what it is, and we just got to take it one day at a time. So here's day one. Here's Monday. We're going to be talking about challenges to slavery here today. That was a long-winded introduction, so I'm going to be going through this rapidamente. All right, so we have a new political party emerge in the 1850s, and that is the Republican Party. So the Democrats, formerly the Democratic Republicans, they become divided over this issue of slavery, especially about allowing slavery in new territories, right? Not most people, a lot of people at this time had already designed themselves, okay, slavery is where it is, and it's going to be almost impossible to get it out of those places. But since we're adding all this new land, all this new territory, we can at least stop the spread of slavery. And so Northern Democrats leave the party over this issue, and because they obviously want slavery to be stopped, and Southern Democrats don't want slavery to be stopped. The Whigs also splinter of this issue. They are divided sectionally between the North and the South, those who favor slavery and those who want to see it ended. And so in 1854, the anti-slavery Whigs plus the anti-slavery Democrats plus the Free Soilers, who we know the Free Soilers are already an anti-slavery political party. They were a single-issue party about abolition. They all come together and form a coalition. They become the Republican Party. All right, so as of 1854, the Republican Party is born. Go ahead and pause to get these notes down. All right. So in the election of 1854, which was a non-presidential election, Republican nominees challenged Whigs and Democrats in the North for a lot of congressional seats. They are, again, focused on banning slavery in these new territories, and 9 Republicans are elected between 1845 and 1855. 9 is not a colossal number, but you also have to remember the size of Congress, which was much smaller at this time. And so that was a significant gain for them to be picking up 9 seats in Congress within, a year of their inception. Go ahead and pause, get this down. That's just the parentheses behind my head. Okay. So in the presidential election of 1856, then, Republicans nominate John Fremont, which should sound familiar to us. Fremont was the man, he was a military major with the United States Army who took California during the Mexican-American War, step 2 of Polk's war plan. And the Republicans' slogan this year, very cleverly, was free soil, free speech, and Fremont. Remember, the Free Soilers, their slogan, the Free Soil Party, was free soil, free speech, and free men. So a little play on words there. Very clever by the Republicans. Democrats nominate James Buchanan. He's an experienced politician. He runs on a campaign of appeasement, basically allowing concessions to the South so that we can all live happily together. Because we know how that's gone for the last 100 years of our country's history, appeasing the South. And then the Know-Nothings, which are still around, as we know, the anti-immigrant party, they nominate Millard Fillmore, former President Millard Fillmore, but they actually lose a lot of support because Millard does not call for the repeal of the Kansas-Nebraska Act, which a lot of know-nothings don't like because they feel like the federal government is taking laws to outlaw slavery, which they don't like. All right, go ahead and get this down. All right, here's the results. So again, we see our 3 candidates there, and a completely sectionalized vote, right? The entirety of the South and the middle states, Illinois, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, all vote for Buchanan. Only those most northern, most New England states vote for Fremont, and Millard Fillmore takes Maryland. Good job, Millard. All right, go ahead and get these notes down. Oh, wait, there's nothing to get down. Let's go to the next slide. Or pause it if you want to look at it longer. I don't know. All right. Okay, so we have the Scott versus Sanford Supreme Court case. It's also known as the Dred Scott decision. You have to watch these videos. There's no way that I can, even if I use all 15 minutes on the Dred Scott case, I wouldn't get through all of why it's important. So here's the way too brief overview. And again, watch these videos. Pause right now. Watch the videos. This PowerPoint is in the resource folder, so you can click on those links. Then come back here and listen to me give a way too brief overview. Okay. Okay, I know we're back from watching the videos. Good job. Thank you for doing that. Dred Scott was a slave, as we heard in the video, who sued for his freedom because he was kept as a slave even when his master took him to free states. And so his main argument here was that since he was a slave in a free state, he was actually illegally held in bondage, and so he should be granted his freedom. The Supreme Court ruled no. They said, first of all, a slave is property, not a citizen, so a slave can't even sue their master, right? The Supreme Court handles intra-state conflicts between 2 different citizens, but this is a citizen and a piece of property, and so there's no case to be had here. And they said on top of that, since you are property, the Fifth Amendment prohibits Congress from taking away property without due process. And so Congress actually doesn't have any power to prohibit slavery in any territory. In the territories where it already exists, in future territories, all of these things are unconstitutional because it violates the Fifth Amendment of depriving one from personal property without due process. So this was a huge blow for abolitionists, and Southerners, as we heard in the video, really thought this would be, they're like, all right, well, this solves it. The Supreme Court has ruled, it's in the Constitution. We will have slaves. It's legal. Our government, our highest court, has said that our highest law says this is allowed. Obviously, it did not work this way. Go ahead and get these notes down as well, please. All right. So the result was that slavery is protected by the Constitution. The Missouri Compromise, unconstitutional. Popular sovereignty, unconstitutional. Because both of those had the potential to limit slavery, right? Even popular sovereignty, if people would have voted to be a free state and to ban slavery, it was the Supreme Court's opinion that that would be unconstitutional because that would be depriving somebody of their property without due process. This was a little bit flawed thinking, as one of our videos explained, but nevertheless, the decision further divides the country and further pits North versus South, anti-slavery versus slavery. Republicans, anti-slavery groups, and generally decent human beings everywhere are outraged, not outrages. That should say outraged. This was a big fire that upset a lot of people. Okay, I have to keep moving. Pause. Get down the notes. And okay. All right, so Lincoln versus Douglas. We have Stephen Douglas, who we've talked about before in the last two videos. I gave you a little. He's going to be showing up later. In 1846, he's an Illinois senator. He dislikes slavery, but he thinks that the controversy over it is going to interfere with the nation's growth. And what that means is we need to focus on other things. We need to focus on expanding territory, expanding our economy. And slavery is a huge part of our economy. And if we get rid of that, it's gonna mess things up. He was short, stocky, and powerful, our textbook tells us, and that earned him the nickname Little Giant, which, if you're familiar with Wabash College, you know that that is their mascot, is a Little Giant. So he is going to be challenging Abraham Lincoln to retain his Senate seat. Lincoln was born in Kentucky, raised in Indiana from the ages of 5 to 18, then moves to Illinois. Not very well educated, but a very skilled politician. And what that means is he knows how to talk to people, which is important to be if you're a politician. He believes slavery is more wrong, but he does admit that there's no real easy way to end this institution where it already existed. But like everybody else, he firmly believes that we could not allow it to spread to new states. All right, let's contain it where it is, and we can worry about that later. But let's make sure that this issue doesn't grow and we don't get more and more land that actually has slavery. Pause, get these notes down. Okay, you don't have to write all these down. You can summarize this, but Douglas reluctantly agrees to debate Lincoln 7 times leading up to the 58 election, and most of these debates focus on the issue of slavery because that was the issue of the day. There's a quote from the book here. It says, Douglas claimed that Lincoln wanted African Americans to be fully equal to whites. Lincoln denied this. Still, Lincoln said, it is the right to eat bread with his own hand, which his own hand earns. An African American is my equal and the equal of Senator Douglas and the equal of every living man. So he's saying that these are human beings, not property, and this institution is wrong and abhorrent. The real issue, Lincoln said, is between a man who thinks that slavery is wrong and those who do not think it wrong. The Republican Party thinks that it is a wrong. And so he's making very, very clear here that he stands against slavery and the Republican Party stands against slavery. Douglas will go to end up winning this election, but it's going to gain Lincoln a lot of national attention and admiration for his elegance and oration and how he speaks to crowds, but also his resolve and how steadfast he is in a lot of these beliefs and his beliefs that slavery is a moral wrong. All right. Finally, remember John Brown, that guy that took those broadswords and hacked to death those 5 people with his sons? Well, he's back in the raid at Harper's Ferry. Definitely watch this video. He basically has another insane plan to end slavery, where he's going to take over an armory, and then he's just going to pass out guns to slaves everywhere, and they're going to you know, just get rid of slavery that way. It doesn't go well.